Hello, joining you from the front porch of a soon-to-be rental property. Um, I bought this thing a few months ago. Well, more like 4 or 5. Been working on it. About I'm most of the way done with the big stuff. Still got to finish putting up walls and flooring. So you put up the walls. Right now I'm working on hanging sheetrock. So all the major components are done. But working on hanging sheetrock, and then you got to finish that, paint it, put in flooring, do your finishing touches, trim and so forth, and you're done. But now flooring is it's a big high dollar thing, but the rest of it ain't going to be too bad. Paint's going to be expensive. It normally is. But anyway, I've been thinking a lot about things and just, general folks. And I see so many people who are lost. And I'm hoping that I can reach just one person or hopefully more. But, you go to work, you go home. It's just, it's dumb. Okay, it's dumb. I'm not saying working is dumb. I say work your butt off. But when you work for somebody else, that's fine and dandy as long as working for them is actually doing something productive. But when you work for somebody and they say, hey, we want your opinion on the X, Y, or Z, they don't want your opinion on it. And at these bigger places, now maybe the smaller folks do, but a business with 10 people maybe. But when they say they want your opinion on something and you give it to them, they get all angry and upset. And then what they do is they scare their employees from saying what they want to say, but then ask for their opinion on stuff. It's the craziest thing. Honestly, it's stupid. And the government jobs do this as well as others. But I'm over it, buddy. If somebody asks me what I think, I'm telling them. Or I'm telling them if they don't want to know what I think, if I don't think they want to know. But I just, I find it interesting that they could, even set up a whole organization to try to help folks, and then or their staff get their voice heard. And then somebody will say something or ask a simple question, and they'll get all offended. And then they'll send all their friends that are, well, not even their friends, their employees who are afraid of them, to a meeting to represent their interests in fear so that they can scare the other person into submission. Well, and I'm not talking about any employer in particular that I'm going to name or anything like that, but I will say, if you work for a place like that, everybody says, get out, get out, get out. No, don't get out. Stay. They really don't like it when you're there. It's fine if you get fired, whatever. Make sure you're prepared to be fired at any time. What I have found is it's best to just have enough of anything you need to support yourself in the event that somebody gets their panties in a wad because you said something or you offended them. See, and here's the thing. It even happens at institutions of higher education, right? Higher education, we're supposed to be teaching people to think and think for themselves. And then when someone does think for themselves, who works there or whatever, it's shut down immediately. At a lot of these, well, not a lot, but some institutions of higher education. And so, it's kind of like it's your, you need to, you really need to stand up for that, right? You need to stand up um, for your fellow workers and for the students who don't need to be learning in an environment that embraces a groupthink so much that it's Orwellian in nature. And it's, we're disrupting the ministry. We can't say that. We can't think that way. No, I mean, that's not what free thought is. And that's not what any of this is. If you can't voice your opinion when you're asked your opinion, and you, without being reprimanded, when they tell you, hey, we want your opinion, there's a problem, right? There is a major issue when people are afraid to do that, or they they send all of their lackeys that are too afraid of them to say the thing that I might be saying to fight me verbally, right? But argue with me should be the correct term, right? But they send them to argue with me because I say what everybody's thinking, including the people arguing with me. And yeah, so it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, maybe it would be smarter to leave an organization that embraces groupthink so much. But it'd be fun just to stick around and watch the spiral. But it needs to end, right? In an organization like that, you almost have to do like the farmers do, and like what I would do at my farm and some of my land, is burn the field. Get rid of everybody who embraces groupthink and just start over. That's what really needs to happen in a place like that, And by default, you might get rid of some folks who don't, but are too afraid to say anything. But an organization like that, that's what needs to happen. And I hate to say it, but a lot of institutions have been taken over by this, and it creates a terrible place to learn, right? Creates a terrible place to do business. So, I think the market will eventually correct for it. I think the market will take out the low-hanging fruit when it comes to the group think. Think about like Sears, right? Like Sears went out of business because they kept doing the same thing over and over again, and they weren't really paying attention to what their customers were saying. They weren't paying attention to the market around them, their employees, what their employees were thinking, And that's what happens, right? That's what happens when you get someone who's at the top or right under the top folks who are so impressed with themselves for having a title. They can't imagine doing what I'm doing. I mean, I'm sweating. My whole shirt's wet. I'm working my butt off. But I'm skilled and I can do these things. And it takes a lot of work, hard work, and skill. And I make my own money. And that's what you need to do. Have some freedom. Find freedom in an unfree world. And then when you say something and you act like you're a free person, everybody around you is baffled and acts like you're an anomaly or something. You've grown 4 heads and you're just a crazy person. But anyway, find freedom in an unfree world.